Here I am in Mason, Texas. I just came out of this store. I should have brought my camera in there. They had some bottles in there with the craziest prices I've ever seen. Okay, we're here in Mason, Texas. A 1914 bridge and a giant dry creek, or maybe a small river. So I think I'll go hiking in here and hopefully I'll find some kind of a dump along the side of it. Kind of a strange way to walk across a bridge. I wonder how many little kids fell down this spot. There seems to be another ravine right up against the road here. Looks pretty interesting. But then again, what about that? That's pretty interesting too. Looks like a good area to me. And it goes in two directions. 100 yards in and it's still going. It looks like it goes for a long ways. There's a lot of broken shards of glass of all different ages, but nothing intact yet. I had to turn around. I got too close to somebody's trailer house. Now I'm back on the main creek and I've walked already 3/4 of a mile with nothing being found. But I'm seeing some slight trace of a dump right here. Got the ultra rare Vicks Vapor Rub. These retail for $1.50. And I'm going up the bank from where that trash was. I'm seeing a bunch of rusty cans. And this is close to where that mansion is. I better probe to see if any glass is down here. Nope. I do see some glass. There's a piece of an older milk bottle. And I see something up that way. I better check it out. Another dry run and another dry creek. Well, I guess I'll check somewhere else. I can't believe what just happened. I just screwed myself out of a royal opportunity to dig behind a soda works. I've been trying to get a hold of this guy for a day and a half. Finally, after watching his business for hours, he shows up. I talked to him and tell him about the soda works. He already knew it was a soda works. And it's wide open dirt back there. And I talked my way into getting to dig. And then I happened to be overly nice. And I said, in the off chance that I happen to poke a hole in your water line or something, let me get your phone number. Then he's like, oh, I'm going to have to back out of this deal now. And then he says he's going to call the pipeline locators. But of course, you know that takes 3 to 5 days or something like that. So now I have to plan a whole nother trip out here and hope that he does do that. And hope that he doesn't change his mind. And this was a Dr. Pepper bottling plant from 1929, which is a very rare one for such a modern bottle, that is. It's probably worth a couple $100. And it was also a Coca-Cola bottler for 1 year only, which means there's a 1915 from there, because it was from 1928. And that would be an unknown Coke bottle, which would be worth $1,000. And I think it was a soda work going back to something along the lines of 1908. So there was a lot of potential there. So I hope I get to dig it in the future. Okay, I'm finally back in Junction, Texas. I've been wanting to get back here for a few years. I'm cruising up and down the streets and looking at all these old places. Hopefully I'll get permission to dig somewhere soon. This desert town here has a pretty big river, and it's actually overflowing over the dam. But it says no glass containers, so I guess we're not going to find any bottles. No, really, there's got to be some in there from 100 years ago. But it's just too full to even attempt to look for them. Well, this town got flooded, so they had to close this road down. But I was thinking maybe it washed out some bottles along the bank, so let's have a look. Yeah, a lot of damage happened over here. Cracked the cement all the way across. This bridge was only built in 2011 and it's already destroyed. And it has a giant bow. It's like bulged up about 2.5 feet. I didn't know cement could do that. Interesting area. Hopefully I'm not going to get in trouble for being over here. It looks like the original highway used to come through here back in the 20s to the 2010, I guess. And then they moved it over that way. Should be a lot of bottles sticking out here, but I don't see anything. Well, at least I found a vintage bottle just laying there. It's probably only from the 50s. Looks like earthquake damage to me. But I don't think there's been any giant earthquakes around here lately. There's some deer over there. Right next to the place I was going to go looking for a dump. Pretty close to downtown, actually. And the other corner of town had a big washout as well. It certainly looks like the type of place a dump would be, but I'm not seeing anything. Okay, I'm here in Junction, and there's a vacant lot that had a hotel on it. I've been wanting to dig it for years. I started to dig it a few years ago, but then I got scared off and filled it back in. But I have permission to dig it now, and I've got the hole started already. There's a lot of pieces of bone in here. A little bit of milk glass. And I found a horseshoe. But it's really just a trash pit. It's almost already finished. It's a bone pit. Well, I just found a drugstore neck to a drugstore bottle, and it definitely is blown in a mold. Then I just hooked onto this. It doesn't even have any embossing on it. Most of these say Phenolax wafers on them. I found plenty of them over the years. Yeah, I just pulled that out. It's a blob top, and it looks like it's an applied blob, which means 1893 on down to 1883. But I just pulled this out. Don't know what it says yet. What could that be? A money clip? So I'm going to scrub it a little bit with a dry brush. Can you read it? Don't feel bad if you couldn't read that. I couldn't read it either. I'm wondering if it's some foreign language. It looks like it might be in French. Whoa, look at that. Is that a whole bottle? I don't believe it. Oh no, really? Not a soda bottle, just a Pluto water. But the fact that it's intact is kind of amazing because everything else is so broken up. An archaeologist would have had a great time in here. They would say that there's about 832... Whoa, wait a minute. What do we got here? Wait, that's not even old. This hole is so confusing. There's stuff from the 1880s, 1890s, early 1900s, teens, 20s, and 30s. All in a layer that's only 6 inches. And definitely it hasn't been dug yet either, because you can see you got about 10 inches of regular soil and then 10 inches of debris. But as I was saying, every shard of glass would be considered an artifact to an archaeologist, and every bone would be considered a relic. So in the report it might sound exciting that they found over 1,000 things, but to a bottle collector, there's maybe one good thing, that metal thing, whatever it said on it. And a $2 bottle. Okay, I got a bottle showing. I think it's going to be intact. Looks like about a 2-ounce drugstore type. And it's a slick, just like 99% of pharmacy bottles you find in the Southwest. Literally, you could dig 100 and only one would be embossed. But it is definitely about 1907. I have located another hole 4 feet over. It's got a lot of the same kind of stuff. A lot of bones. And a few pieces of broken glass, nothing really worth talking about yet. The hole's almost finished and I'm just now noticing the first bottle. Oh man, that's not even that old. It's a pretty green one though. So even though it's probably 1937 or 38, I still could probably get $2.50 for it. Well, that's it. It's very sparse on the bottles on this one. But I did get permission to dig this house. I do see a sinkhole right where it probably should be, but the house is only from 1926 or 27. And I was told I should come to the museum to find out more about where the Coca-Cola bottler was back in the 20s, but of course it's Saturday at noon and they're closed. Why would they be closed at that time? It doesn't even have a sign that says when they are open.